Here it is, my 2001 C5 Corvette. And it's been through some things, especially up front. My front splitter's been decimated, marker lights are duller than my ex, and one got so beat up it actually cracked. And it doesn't help that it's lowered a lot. So today, I'm throwing a pile of new parts at it to completely refresh this front end. We're talking a new splitter, fresh corner lights with a very special trick, and the brightest headlights available. Stick around because by the end of this, how did that break? My Corvette might actually turn heads for the right reasons this time. That's interesting looking. I think we're gonna start with the headlights. Because my car's so low, and I'm not, to save myself some back pain, I'm gonna put the Vette up in the air. We'll pop the hood, and using the manual crank, raise the headlights. With the first light up, we'll pull the headlight bezel. It kinda rolls down and forward and out. I gotta be careful here not to scuff the paint. With that bezel off, I can remove the 4 Torx screws holding on the headlight cover. There's supposed to be 4. I'm not sure where one of mine went. 1 on each side, and 2, or if you're me, 1 on the back. Now the cover can lift right off. And finally, there's 2 Torx bolts that make the headlight hinge joint, which get removed. The headlight gets tilted down, so we can remove the 10mm nut holding the headlight motor to the lifting arm. A little wiggling and prying, and just like that, she's out. Now the assembly's out, I'll remove the housing by removing the 3 10mm screws, then pull out the 4 Phillips head screws holding the old projector in. Now we'll find the little plastic spacers in the baggie, slide them under the foam weather strip on the new Nova projector, put our 4 new screws in place, line it up, and reattach the Nova projector to the housing. Takes a little finessing to get the 4 screws to line up, and once they're all lined up, we can tighten them down, and the Nova projector's finally installed. All right, time to put this back in the car. Look at how wild it looks. And wild, I almost forgot to put the entire housing back on the headlight. I thread the 3 mounting screws back in, and now it's ready to go back in the car. The same way it came out, but reversed. This looks complicated, I know, but if a dimwit like me can do it, it's not bad. Luckily, all the wiring's plug and play too. But if you're a C5 owner, I'll include a link down below for the diagram that shows where each connector goes, because it's much easier to show than explain. All the wiring is hooked up, I believe correctly. I just gotta find a home for this after it comes with 3M tape on it. I just have to attach that to something metal, but I'm gonna bolt the rest of this back in so we can at least test it out, make sure I did everything correctly before we, finalize it and really button it back up. Once I reinstall the 2 bolts that make up the headlight hinge joint, I'll crank the headlight back down so we can test it. All right, let's put on the lights and make sure this one's working and see how it looks. Oh yeah. Jeez. Whew. I mean, there's a lot of light in here. And look at that. Good to know my second sun on the driver's side's working. Now we know what we're actually doing. The other side should go much faster. Keyword, should. But trouble strikes as soon as we start. Oh, well, this is not great at all. I was loosening the bolt here, and the freaking headlight cover just broke. What the hell? Look at this. What the heck? That sucks. Is this like a common thing? Has anyone ever had this happen? How did that break? Wow, this sucks. The other side only had 1 bolt holding it on in the back, so I really don't think I need to replace it, but still, that sucks. I hate that just did that. I'm genuinely flabbergasted as to why that fiberglass just chipped off like that. I mean, it's not like we were tightening it down. I was loosening it. But, oh well, 1 bolt should be fine back there. Now I can do the same exact process as we did on the other side. Removing the headlight bezel, the cover, and the hinge, pull the headlight assembly out, get it on the table, and remove the housing, remove the mounting screws on the old projector, insert our plastic spacers, and then tighten the Nova projector back to the headlight assembly, then mount it back to the housing. Now we can get it back into the car. But here's where things differ a tad from the other side. Everything's still plug and play here, no splicing, and again, I'll have links below to the instructions with a picture. The projector gets plugged in, and all the connections made, hopefully correctly. And now, passenger side's finally done. Let's see if it actually works. But it doesn't. And clearly, I'm surprised it doesn't. What the heck? I try the high beams, and those work. The low beam projector comes on. I feel like an idiot, as per usual, because as you'll notice, of course, it is the next day, and I've been messing with the wiring, and I'm rereading the directions and going back and redoing the wiring, and it's plug and play. It's that simple. I just didn't follow the directions to a T. Granted, it's because I thought I didn't need that part because I already had upgraded headlights from Sharplight, but let me explain what's going on. So as I said, because I already had the upgraded Sharplight lights, I have this harness right here with some fuse taps. And as it turns out, from what I'm understanding, I don't need these anymore because it gets replaced with this. And if I read the directions fully, I would have gotten that. But now I can install this new high 4 harness with new fuse taps. And now we check the headlights. I hope it works this time. I think it will. Go. And nothing. What the heck? So I checked the fuses, all good there. I checked the fuses in the passenger compartment fuse box, all good there as well. Then I'm officially stumped and have to make a cry for help. I figured it out. Actually, George figured it out. Talk about customer service. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's almost 4 o'clock. I was kind of stumped, so I emailed him, and he answered like 7 minutes later. That's pretty cool. But it turns out one of the connectors I had, it's hard to see. The polarity on one of the connectors was switched around. A very silly, simple mistake outlined in the directions to double check for. Red to red, black to black, and voila, would you look at that? We'll test these things out on the road later, but now we can put back on our covers and bezels. That's not the only upgrade we're doing to the front end of this thing, because the corner marker lights on the Vette have been taking a beating from little rocks and road debris. So we're putting in some brand new ones from Sharplight. But these ones have a cool little quirk to them. I'll show you in a minute. We get to them by removing the small screws on the bottom and in the fender well holding on the front fascia closeout panel. I don't know what this thing is or where it goes to. Then we release the brake cooling duct by just pushing it in and down. Now we can see our light and the 2 screws and spring holding it in. Definitely a little tight up here, but I get the first bolt out, then struggle immensely with the second one, till I realize... My apologies, it's been, 5 or 6 years since I first installed these, and this entire time I've been trying to remove the wrong bolt. Yeah, so that one needs to come out. Those do not, and that one does. Once I remove the correct bolt, I can unclip the spring. That's right, a spring helps hold these lights in, unhook our wiring, and the light comes out. People are always so curious how these lights mount in there, and for good reason. It is a bit of an interesting design. On the bench, I swapped the mounting bracket from the old light onto the new one. The best part is better with 2 hands. Yeah, no. I can't put the shiny new lights into the dirty hole, so I'll clean up where it mounts quick, then start on the wiring. Once I remove all the old tap splices, our new ones go on, which are this new interesting twist style I've never seen before, called posi taps. We just put the wire we need to splice onto this little screw-like thing, and then tighten it on. Actually, very easy. After that, our new switchback bulb presses into the socket, the new housing goes back into place and gets bolted and springed back on. What a freaking difference. Look at that. Now it's time to make the other side look that good. The passenger side really needed this sprucing up, since this is the side a rock put a nice hole in my housing. I removed the correct bolts this time, and the spring, swap over the mounting bracket, then put the new light in. If you like this C5 build and you're a fan of what we're doing here, then now's a great time to hit that subscribe button. Now, I've been driving the Vette around for a few days now, but I've noticed something with the corner marker lights. And it seems like they're flickering on and off, but what I also noticed is that when I put in the lights, the actual light bulb into the socket and the socket into the housing, the factory C5 light socket on both sides is kind of screwed up. And the more that I looked into it, the more that I found out that that's a common thing for those things to melt. So I went on the interwebs, found some part numbers, did some cross-referencing, and ordered this. Well, two of these. This is a replacement light socket. Now I know it says 1990 to 1995 GM. I don't know why it says that. This should be what we need. And we're gonna find out if it's what we need. As you can see, it doesn't appear to be in the best shape, and it looks like the foam gasket thing is missing too. So all we have to do is cut the wires off. Thankfully, this won't affect our splices we just put on. We crimp on connectors, then connect the wires from the new connector. Luckily, the colors were close, besides the two different blues, but it's right. Now I'll click in the new switchback bulb. It already feels much more secure in there. All right, let's try it. Booyah! Now before the Vette gets its next mod, it's time for a word from our sponsor. When I'm not in the garage and I'm out on the road buying cars, like with the Cadillac, somehow my truck from 2001 doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, which means I have to use public Wi-Fi, which comes with quite a lot of risks, which is why I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark VPN. A VPN is critical because it basically protects your private information online. It filters out and stops all the bad guys and all the bad stuff that's floating around on public Wi-Fi and doesn't reveal any of my private information to them, which is vital in avoiding identity theft and hackers and all the other weird stuff that's on the internet. Whether it's on your phone or your computer, there's a little switch. You toggle it on, and boom, I'm like invisible on the internet. Another plus if you use it, it gets rid of price discrimination, because certain websites and vendors will charge you different amounts depending on the location where you're browsing from. You can turn that off. Even better, you can actually choose a location anywhere in the world. A lot of people do this on Netflix and streaming services where certain shows and movies aren't available here in the US. I'll click on it and say, no, actually, as a matter of fact, I'm in, Czechoslovakia. And boom, it'll let me watch shows that are only available in that part of the world. And you can use unlimited devices under one account. I use it on my phone, on my laptop. You can protect your whole home. So they're gonna hook you guys up. If you click the link down in my description below or go to surfshark.com/DriveHub, they're gonna give you 4 extra months of VPN for free. There's no risk in trying. They offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so don't wait. Put on that digital condom, get yourself covered. Thanks a lot, Surfshark. Now back to the Vette mods. Now this next mod, our final mod for this video, might be a little controversial because it's the front splitter. Now don't get me wrong, there's nothing at all that I dislike about this front splitter. I love the look of it. This is the front splitter that I wanted as soon as I got my C5. But there's just something that we have to be honest with ourselves about here. The C5 from the factory is a very low car. And my Vette is even lower than that. My car is very, very low. I mean, look at that. I'm just kidding, obviously, because it's on the lift, the tire's gonna be hanging down, but you can tell how low my car is because look at the amount of wear that's on this thing, just peeled away by the road, and actually it's actually falling off. So I could repaint this thing. I could pull it off, sand it all down. I might have to Bondo some areas or re-fiberglass technically because this is fiberglass. But I've had this splitter on for like 4 or 5 years. It's been a fantastic splitter. I've gotten more compliments on this car with that splitter on, but I don't see any harm in trying something new since I haven't really done anything new with this car in a long time, mainly because I love the way it looks now, but I think if I'm gonna do something, it can be somewhat subtle, and I think the front splitter is a good place to do it. Plus, I don't really want to take it off and have to do body work and paint and stuff. I'm not skilled. Now, there is a difference between these two front splitters that I'll show you guys in just a minute. Let's actually open this one up. You guys are already seeing one of the differences right before your eyes. This is the Extreme Online Store C5 ZR1 Extended Front Splitter. Now, the first obvious difference here, there's 3 pieces. And the second, not that I think you'll be able to tell at all, but this is made of ABS plastic. The other front splitter is fiberglass. It's an age-old battle in the Corvette modding world. Is fiberglass better or is plastic? And everyone's got their own opinions. Fiberglass splitters are stiffer and offer better aero performance, making them better for track use. But they're brittle and can crack on impact. But as you've seen with mine, I've slammed mine on many things, and it's cracked in some spots, but not terribly at all. ABS plastic splitters are more flexible, or durable for like daily driving, and they're usually more budget friendly. Though being less rigid, they can flex at high speeds. A normal person doing like what I do with my Vette would probably be fine with either. Just pick the design you like best, or whatever fits your price. Now it's time to get this beautiful front splitter installed. Which means first, getting the old splitter off. I'm just pulling the self-tappers out when I notice. Now, a word of caution as I'm taking these screws out. These, one right there and one right here that I had installed, regular self-tapping screws, those ones had actually, they like pulled out of the bumper and were kind of, hanging down like this. I don't think this thing was smacking around, but just a word of caution that might happen if you use self-tapping screws. They might actually, the wind pushing down on this might actually make that gap and pull those self-tapping screws out a little bit. Now, it's quite possible someone at some point stole my car and did really fast pulls on the highway once a week for like years, which meant this thing would have had some serious pressure on it. That explains the self-tapper somewhat pulling out. But installing the new one, we're gonna do something different. And after pulling all the self-tapping screws and the 2 factory screws holding the factory air dam and the front splitter on, and there it is. The end of an era. I think I could cry. Oh boy, it has been a minute since I've seen this thing without a front splitter. Oof, that's interesting looking. It's not bad. I still think they're cute. She cute, but dirty under where the splitter was. Yuck. Before putting on the fresh new splitter, I'm gonna clean this area all up. There's surprisingly not a lot of damage under here. I was expecting it to be a little more battered up. That was already there when I bought the car, but I was expecting it to be a little more battered up under there than it is, which is good. Now we can start to install the new splitter, which mounts using a few factory spots, which is nice, and some self-tapping screws and adhesive strips, both of which are included with the kit. But I'll show you how we're gonna mount it. The screw on the bottom middle of the front bumper is the first to come out, and this is the center of the front. This is where the splitter's gonna be centered to. Do I have a better angle from down here? Not really. How the heck are you supposed to see that? Oh, is that it? Did I find it? Oh, fudge. I was incorrect. I think I've got it. All right, we're leaving that lightly in there. That ain't going anywhere. Okay, so we've got this first bolt up there. It's at least holding this center section in here. It's loose right now, so I can add the other 2. I grabbed the passenger side section, started to line it up, until I realized this wasn't the smartest and most accurate way to be doing this. So I removed the center screw holding the middle piece in, reluctantly, plopped all 3 pieces on the table, and used the 6 nuts and bolts that come with the kit to attach the 3 pieces together, keeping all the hardware loose, of course, so I can fine-tune things when it's on the car. And now, in a more cumbersome scenario, lined up the center screw with the center splitter piece once again. And I'll move from the middle to the side pieces to get all pieces at least up in place with one screw, the factory one on the very ends. Driver's side good, it lined up fine, and I put the screw through the hole in the factory air dam and hole through the splitter into the speed nut. But as I finagled with the passenger side, we had a bit of a problem. A slight change of plans, because it turns out on this side, on the passenger side, someone, I don't think it was me, but someone got creative with a drill bit. And I honestly, I don't think it was me. I'm not joking around, but there's just a few different holes in this factory furthest corner one that we're supposed to grab is almost non-existent because it's like a combination of two holes. And there's no U-nut, clip nut thing up there to thread into. So I'm gonna go get some hardware so I can put a nut and bolt on this side, and then I'm gonna get a bunch of nuts and bolts so that I can actually, instead of using self-tappers, I'm gonna use nuts and bolts. And I'll explain why. And I'm gonna use these machine screws and nuts and washers to also mount up the whole rest of the splitter, because I don't love how the self-tappers up front started pulling out. It always helps to have a second set of eyes and hands. I get the splitter lined up where I want it on the edge and curve of the front bumper. Dad drills a hole through the pre-drilled hole in the splitter into the front bumper. Then we put a screw and washer up and reach through the panel we already had off doing the corner lights to secure a nut on.
Okay, that's hand tight on.
And we do that for most of the holes in the front splitter.
It has to be, there would be good.
How's that? That close there?
On the driver's side, I found the outermost screw that goes into the factory speed nut wasn't holding the splitter right where I wanted it. So I lined it up where it looked good, held it in place, and Dad made a new hole for the nut and bolt.
It's nice and even and everything.
Really put another one in there. I am so excited to see how this thing looks on the ground.
Nice and shiny too.
Then did a final tighten on the 6 screws and nuts holding the center section of the side pieces, and it's just about done. Almost.
Now it worked out that those panels were both off, because I don't think you'd be able to get half of those nuts and bolts in if you went the nut and bolt route. I don't think you'd be able to get those in without those panels removed.
And another little side note, not to blow wind up my own skirt, but these ones, if you do nut and bolts, I don't know how you're gonna reach those. I lucked out and God gave me the arms of Slender Man. So I was able to reach up there quite uncomfortably, but I was able to get those ones tightened down. And now everything is in place and bolted down. And another cool thing about this front splitter that I just realized is that the old front splitter had the intakes on the side, but this one, it's all open in the middle. And in there goes right up. This is the inside of the front splitter. So the air is going straight in the front here and directly into the intake. There's our badass Callaway intake right there. So we could be seeing some improved power too. Aesthetics and power. I'm surprised I pronounced that correctly. Now it's time to take the vet out and see how it looks. The Extreme Online Store splitter looks like it extends a little further out, and no more orange on the front end for marker lights. These sharp lights are a white daytime running light with a sweeping switchback LED strip. Boy, this lighting is absolutely beautiful. Doesn't it look great? My face, I mean. The car doesn't look bad either. No, this thing looks incredible now. I love that glossy
front lip, and I'm really liking the big, you know, intake in the middle there, as opposed to the ones on the outside. That's really doing it for me, that. I like that. And then, of course, pop on the lights here. The daytime running lights from Sharplight. Oh, man. They're so bright, the camera doesn't even pick them up. Come on now. It just doesn't do them justice. But the piece de resist ravioli, I don't know, whatever they say, the headlights. The new Nova headlights. These things are wild. Oh my gosh, am I obsessed with this car. I freaking love the C5 Corvette. This thing is beautiful. I'm giggling like a child. This car is perfect. And the way that it is now, oh, it's phenomenal. Look at it. It's beautiful. And the best thing is, the car is exactly as I wanted it to be. I wanted to update it enough so that it was, you know, I can see at night. It's got all LED lighting. It looks so much newer than a C5 usually does. It's perfect. This thing is just phenomenal. Now that we've got the painted calipers, so much brighter, the front lip nice and glossy black, and the full Sharplight kit up front. Wait, we don't even have our fog lights on. Now we're talking. You guys have no freaking idea how bright the front of this car is, especially with these corner marker lights. You don't even need headlights, yet we just installed the brightest headlights available for the C5 Corvette. And in a few minutes, when it gets a little bit darker, we'll see just how bright these things are. This thing looks freaking incredible. I'm obsessed. It's gorgeous. What a thing of absolute beauty. All right, seeing as though we have so much fuel and so many lights on, geez, we might as well take this thing to the gas station and see just how bright those Nova headlights are. Oh boy, we're cutting it a little close on fuel, just a little bit. I never would have thought that they'd make headlights brighter than the last Sharplight headlights that I had on this thing. But these are freaking nuts. Look at that. And look at that cutoff. No headlights. Headlights. These are nuts. And I think my favorite thing about them, about these projector headlights, is the cutoff beam. I mean, as you guys know, for years I've put different headlight bulbs in the factory housings. I used LED bulbs, HID bulbs, and those are bright, don't get me wrong, but they just scatter light everywhere, and everyone flashes their high beams at you. With these, it's such a controlled pattern. It's such a controlled beam. You get a nice sharp cutout line. I do have to aim mine, but you get the gist of just how bright these things are. I mean, even with just the running lights on and fog lights, it's as bright as it's as bright as the stock headlights. We made it. That is going to be a wrap for today's video. Thank you so much to those who are supporting and partnering with me on this build. Sharplight Innovations, Extreme Online Store, and thank you all to you so much for watching. I'm truly blessed to be able to do this and to work with such companies. Again, I'll include a link to all the parts that I used down in the description below, as well as my special Surfshark link. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy motoring.